San Fran has now won 4 out of their last 5 games. And I have to ask you, is San Francisco a legitimate playoff worthy team at this current moment in time?
Say so. I think that they're playing very well in the offensive end. Obviously, Jimmy Garoppolo and, of course, George Kittle are having incredible seasons right now, with the two of them actually getting into a rhythm, with George Kittle coming off of the injury. Believe it or not, even with the injuries in their backfield, they're still finding a way, no matter who is actually running the football, whether that's Elijah Mitchell or the rest of that cast. They're running the ball very efficiently, and they're finding ways to create that play action, which is where Jimmy Garoppolo is at his most potent. And then the defense, Nick Bosa doing what he's got to do. Fred Warner, we all know he's one of the better linebackers in football. He's just not better than Darius Leonard. That is for the record. Let that be noted. Come make the argument with me. I'd love to have that open-ended discussion in which you will lose. Um, I'm not surprised that they're making this run because they have the personnel to do it. And Debo Samuel, dual threat weapon in multiple facets. I mean, he can run the ball, he can catch the ball. He's doing it. He can do it on special teams. We know that from college. Brandon Ayuk is finally coming out and being the weapon and being utilized in the Kyle Shanahan offense that we know can be very potent. And the fact that they are sitting at the 6th seed right now, to me, is of no surprise because I believe they've won 4 of their last 5. And I think that they're doing everything that they need to do to win football games, including holding off a surging Bengals team and capitalizing and doing what they need to do and getting a win on the road, man. I think that was huge. And the 49ers are no joke. I'm not going to sit here and say that they're a scary team in the NFC, but they're definitely very competitive and they're doing it on both sides of the football. So for them to be in this position right now, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I do think that San Francisco is a playoff caliber team. To what extent that they can make some noise in the playoffs, I think it's going to be minimal at best if they actually make it in. I got to give them credit. They've won 4 out of their last 5 games. They got a great win against Cincinnati on the road in overtime. And when I look at this team offensively, they're still hit and miss in certain games that they play in, but their playmakers have been playing absolutely phenomenal the last couple of weeks. George Kittle, since coming back from his injury, he has absolutely lit it up with his production. Granted, I know they lost to the Seattle Seahawks last week, but the guy had over like 180 yards receiving and had 2 touchdowns in that game. And then he follows it up against Cincinnati with like 13 catches, 150 yards, and 1 touchdown. He had, I believe, Kevin, if I remember correctly, he had 3 catches in that overtime drive that led to the game winning touchdown against the Bengals. And then Debo Samuel, this guy to me is one of the most underrated players in the NFL just because he's so dynamic at that wide receiver spot. And they utilize him for so many different purposes. They utilize him in jet sweeps, they utilize him out of the backfield. He's an extremely capable wide receiver when Jimmy's throwing him the ball. Just the explosiveness that both George Kittle and Debo Samuel bring to that offense is just lights out phenomenal. And it's too bad that their running back field has really been dealing with injuries this entire season because had those guys stayed healthy, I think San Fran could probably have a better record than the Rams at this current moment in time. But it's just injuries really have kind of plagued this team this year. They were really affected by them last year, and I think that caused them the opportunity to miss the playoffs last year. And I think this year, I think they have a better shot of making the playoffs. It's just, I don't think it's going to be enough to really make a lot of noise once the playoffs do arrive. But if they keep playing like this and winning these close matchups, I think that they can make a wild card berth. But I think that's pretty much their ceiling at this current moment in time, and that's just kind of how I see it.